so nice to see so many people. I think I start recognizing some of you. It's so interesting, and it's really, you know, the something I always say that bad situation is good situation, and good situation is bad situation. For some way, we go around the world without tickets, without jet lag, and be around, appear anywhere. It's just really amazing. Before I say anything, I would like to ask you, do you have any questions to me so I would know what do you want to hear from me?
And if you have any questions, just unmute yourself and ask. Okay. Oh, does someone else? Sure, someone else.
I would like to hear more about you. I'd like to hear about your experience in your early days after becoming a nun, in your first few years.
I can, who is asking? I couldn't see you. So many people I can see. I find you. Who is it?
I am.
Oh, Jennifer. Ah, okay.
Yes.
So early days of my monastic life. Well, as you see, I'm laughing. It wasn't easy. So the karma is very interesting thing. And we learning in our school, the most important thing we have to learn is to learn about the know. And my karma keep pushing me around, but I have to be in the know without practicing. It means I first went to 3 months retreat in Poland. I didn't speak Polish, and I didn't have the translation. So you can imagine I had interviews in Polish without translation. You already don't hardly understand what the kongens is about, and then now you have to figure out kind of like what do they say, and say like, what do you mean? So like, I can't tell you. If I tell you, I'm telling you the answers. So I was just like, have to figure out the words, have to figure out what's happening. Another thing, you know, is always anywhere you go where his culture difference, where people have the same problems everywhere, but they express them differently. So from the Poland, finally, when I went to Korea, as I said before, I went with few sentences of my English. I could say who I am, where I'm coming from. If you ask the same question differently, I wasn't able to answer. So I stuck in immigration because I couldn't really express where I'm coming, why I'm coming here and what is it. And we couldn't find the Lithuania on the map at that time. So it was fun. And when I arriving in the Huagesa, of course, I hardly speak anything. Now it's completely different culture. And somebody is translating me in Polish, which I hardly broken, learn a little bit. So when after some time, I became the Henja in Huagesa, since I couldn't speak much, I couldn't express much, and that's maybe perfect to be as a Henja, since you're Henja, you have to say only yes, and I couldn't say much more, yes or no, no, it's not possible, so only yes. So it was easy in a way, and of course, the physically was pretty tough. And not only culture-wise, the environment, I wasn't used to this heat, humidity, the food. And if you know, the Henja means preparation to become a monastic. So you're not yet monastic, and you kind of work for the temple, you do everything, and you can practice. So right now they have this another program which we call Hengwan. So you are not training as the monastic, you can just stay in the temple, and by doing some hours of work, you can kind of repay of your being in the temple. But a Henja is actually your full time. Also, is some way observation. Observation, people watch you if you are fit for this Sunim's job. And also you can see yourself if I really want it. But, you know, I managed to get through the training, which was really interesting. Was, I know, it's again my karma. From the kindergarten, I would get into this experimental groups. So kindergarten was in experimental group, primary school experimental group, and constantly I would get in this experiment place, which means we're changing some kind of system and trying out. So the same happened when I became the Henja. The whole Korea decided to change of the curriculum and how we're going to train them. That is when they put with different clothes for Henjas. This became the orange for the woman and brown for the men. So we was laughing, you know, orange so you could see from far away where are you. So we can be, so you won't run away and we give you a job if you're free. So that's what happens to me because, as I said, I speak hardly anything. And to the point when my roommate was shocked after 2 months. She said, I thought you are unable to talk at all. What you call is like numb, or what you call, and you're talking. It's like, she was so shocked because I wasn't saying anything because I didn't know what to say. I didn't know how to say. And then I went to this Henja, like kind of exam, which means the whole Korean Henjanim with preparation with all these people go to one place for another few weeks of the training. And then they're going to be ordained together. It's fun, you know, when you have a lot of people. But it's fun, it means every day 5-10 people would be kicked out. So it means it's tough. You already have, we have like 500, 1,000 bows every day. You know, this means no cushion. It's, you know, on the cement, which is kind of minimum we have. So you just bow without cushion on this ground. And people will kind of put, you know, socks, napkins, on anything on the knees just to protect them a little bit. I wasn't, you know, I didn't speak again, and I know nothing about Korean language. So I am in this, between all these people, of course, they all speak Korean, and we was free Westerners. So one of my friends who was together, Henjanim, she was Korean, and she could translate for me. She was kicked out on second day because somebody decided, you know, she is too old, whatever. You know, and they just not even seeing a person say, you have to go. So you never know when it's your turn. So the tough was time, you know, we sleep together in one room on the floor, no beds, no mats, no nothing. So it means you just have whatever you have. You cannot even take off your clothes. You just sleep on the floor. We have this hangman's, you know, it's like kind of another like sock which you have tied under your knee. It's just protecting your pants. It's really tough. So we could kind of loosen up, but you cannot loosen too much because if you have to jump up and run, it's supposed to stay on you. If somebody drops or left something, everybody's punished. So we got punished many times. And punishment means bowing. So I don't know if you ever tried that as punishment of bowing, but it's also fun to do it in a group. Because somebody is standing with a chukpi, which just right now you had the sound, and just goes like, this means one kid go down, one kid stand up, one kid go down, one kid stand up. And you go like this. So 300 bows, like what? 20 minutes? Done. So, and a lot of kneelings, people was fainting. It's really physically tough. And we have the written exam, which is, of course, in Korean with Chinese characters. Here you go. Already don't understand anything. And now we give you some kind of Chinese characters which you have to answer. So again, constantly was not knowing, but it was very interesting time because your mind is always sharp and alert because you don't know what's happening. So you have to be constantly, you can't daydream. You look around, you perceive what's happening just by being with people. So somebody praised me what I'm doing right, and I understood I'm doing wrong. So I follow people who did wrong. So it constantly was fun. Well, I passed the training because at that time we was kind of, we just said, forget about what is Chinese and Korean, just turn around and write in English, whatever you know about Buddhism. So we was lucky because this is, I guess, the last time, it was first and the last time we did it for Westerners. Afterwards, we asked them to learn the Korean. So now if you want to become a nun and you go for Hanja training, you also have to learn Korean language. At that time, we kind of sneak around because we just was practicing the Sansanim, you know, we wasn't really wanting to do all this Korean training. But practicing together with the group, this was really amazing. You know, you have like 500 people, everything doing together. Sleeping together, eating together, chanting together, the class together, punish together. Even if you go to toilet, you cannot go by yourself. So you have like 5-10 people in the road, you go together, and you together come back. So it's pretty tough training. But again, it's, you know, when you stand in this mountain temples, like all the mountains around, and of course we line up like an army, and you in front of this hall, and you listen to the bell, 3 o'clock in the morning, which is echoes in all these mountains. Just one of the sound, it's pay off for all the suffering go through. It's just so amazing. And yeah, we had, I already forgot all of this. But I think we had in these 3 weeks, we had one time we went for shower, I guess so. And of course, everybody together like Korean style in this hot bath, which was our holiday. But what happened that time, because we all of us very tired, you know, the checking reduced to minimum. You only follow, everybody is just one mind, how you're going to pass this, you know, just to work together to pass. What's really hit me, maybe all of you had this formal meal with 4 bowls, if you had experience. So we have the water bowl, which afterwards we throw as offering for called the hungry ghosts. So Korean tradition means this water which you collect cannot be even 1 grain of any particle. So if any grain of particle is in this bucket of collection, it would be distributed back to drink for everybody. And you know, everybody is beginner, so of course somebody dropped it, and the bucket was going backwards to distribute back. And I was really touched. The people were first who was getting back this bucket, you know, because you cannot just go and fish this particle out. You have to scoop and go. So it was very fast. So people was trying to scoop as much as possible to get this particle out. So until the particle is out, the bucket was free from particles, is went off for offering, that everybody else doesn't have to drink. So people who was first receiving it, they had this mind, I sacrificed myself so nobody else would have to do this. So when I saw this, it's really touched me. You don't need the language. It's touched me so much, just to seeing like how much they care for everybody else. Basically, we don't know each other. We came from very different places, you know, and we hardly talk, of course. Well, not talking me, which I don't speak anything, but even people, Korean people between, you don't have the time for that. So this togetherness and care for each other is the first thing which really inspired me. It really hit me. Of course, nowadays, if you do this, maybe, especially with Corona, I don't think that's possible of this water distribution. But that time is something more than just to do something. It's more like how you're doing, what kind of mind you're keeping. And as I said, when we went for this hot bath, it was in the bus, you know, it's like, finally, we got out of this. And you're going through this forest and you're getting into this village. And we went through this village and the bus stopped to this kind of broken house. The walls was broken, tiles broken. And it was interesting when I looked at this house with this tiles, was broken, this dust and spider net. It looked so beautiful. It just was, wow. We always think that beauty is something, everything neat and tidy, but just being with it, it seems so beautiful. Just like, you don't really need much. And especially when your mind doesn't think so much, you stay always focused, everything seems so beautiful. You really appreciate everything so much. So later on, after I finished training, I went back to Vargas, I bowed to the Sansanim, and until then, I still didn't know who is my Unsansanim. It means like your non-teacher. And because Korean tradition, where if you are nun, you cannot only have the monk teacher, you also have to supposed to have the nun teacher. And the nun teacher which we had before, just before my ordination, she passed away. So she wouldn't sign for me because she wasn't there. And I didn't know who is going to be for me. I didn't have any choice. So I bowed to the Sansanim, you know, just like after becoming a nun, just congratulations. I say, so, okay, so now you can go to Hong Kong and help your Unsansanim. Hong Kong, Unsansanim. So right away, so I figured out that Wang Zen Master became my Unsansanim. So I went to Hong Kong for 2 months to help, which, what now is like 24, 25 years. So, you know, the time is very strange thing. It was 2 months until now, didn't finish. So I came to Hong Kong. Here you go. I almost learned a little bit of English in Fagasa. I went to Hong Kong. Here you go. Everybody speaks Chinese. I don't know anything again. New culture, new language. My mind back into the know and same story over. And I was wondering, maybe I shouldn't learn the Cantonese. I learned Cantonese. I don't know where do I go afterwards. I guess they would throw me some other language, which I don't know again. But so lucky enough, after I started speaking Cantonese, I survived. It's almost seemed I had to learn Mandarin, but I kind of survived that. So I escaped the Mandarin learning. So if you see, my environment constantly was training me to be in the moment, to be in the know. And yes, it was extremely stressful as a physically way, but it also had its own good stuff, which, you know, your mind keeps ready. You cannot just be fooling around like whatever. I just think you constantly just doing it. So this is what helped my practice and experiences. Like, because of that, I had so many. Which one do you want? Any other question?
Hello, I have a question.
Yes, I see you.
Hi. So I recently started reading the Tibetan Book of the Dead. I didn't know if that was a text that you studied in your training, and maybe just what your thoughts are on death in general.
Yeah, actually, I had this book over and over in different language coming to me, but I never read it. I'm sorry. Somehow it was passing through me. I just maybe hold few minutes, and it's always just would kind of evaporate. So I never read it. Maybe I will try someday. You know, the death is something. What we say, something which everybody has it, you know, nobody will be escaping it. It's not somebody's privilege and no somebody's punishment, you know, it comes to all of us. It comes in when and how, nobody knows. Maybe some of the people, doesn't matter even practitioners or not, they could feel it's coming. But most of us cannot predict like, okay, when it's going to happen. And we always feel like it's going to happen to somebody, first of all, but not to me. And then it may even, okay, it may happen to me, but you know, it will be so long time, you know, it's still a long, long time ahead. We don't think, but you know, maybe you'll have a few seconds left, who knows? As you said, you know, my brother encouraged me to watch this movie. I mean, I think somebody already listened to this story. I'm sorry if you hear it again. This In Time, maybe somebody watched this movie In Time. And it kind of hit me. You know, all the movies is just our mind creation, but it's called, if you know this movie, is the currency in this movie, what we have is your time, your life. So everything, you know, we have all this mark of your clock ticking, always time ticking, nonstop. And it's fun, you know, you want coffee, 5 seconds. It's just like, yeah, it sounds for us so silly. But if you have 1 hour of your life, 5 seconds is a lot. So, you know, we keep having this in and out, coming in and out. And the setting of a movie, what everybody, when you grow up to 25, that's the age you stay, you know, you don't grow older, but your time is always ticking. So some people has million of years, some people have hours, and we count. So looking at this, you know, the shocking when the story, when you look, when the mother is running to see the son, and they was not enough 1 second, and she dies in, you know, in front of him, which he could just pass with minutes to her. This is how fragile the life is. But what's interesting was in this movie to me, when this guy was stealing these hours of life, you know, it comes, and for example, he was robbing, you know, Europe for money, Europe for the time. So he was robbing somebody, stopped, and you say like, okay, give me 1 day. And somebody's like, 1 day? You can take more than that, you know, if you rob. So 1 day is enough for me. In 1 day, I can do a lot. And this is something important. We always think that we need so much time for something. In 10 seconds, he could change the whole different life. And if we really pressure this life, like what do you have right now? Maybe this second, this minute, this hour, maybe this 1 day. What do you do with this 1 day? As well, this, you know, maybe you watch later or you remember this girl when she fights with her father. And the father had millions of years. She will always say, it's no rush. You know, you don't have to decide anything, you have don't do anything because you have so much time. When the daughter finally fights with him, you know, with stealing and so on, and when she, in this fight, she said, you have so much years, but you didn't live even 1 minute. You have this time, but do you really was alive? So we think about death, about something which coming somewhere, but do you really think, are you alive right now? How much you really alive this moment? Are you already dead to your past, or you dead to your future? Where are you living right now? Now this experience. If this is valuable, even though it's just from last movie, now if you have lived 1 minute, you're fine with dying. You know, you have nothing to regret. But what usually people have at the last moments is regret. You didn't do something, you did something, or you worry about something. But if you fully lived, that life is fulfilled. It's okay. Whatever comes, you know, we can learn from people what they say, what's going to happen. But how do we really know it's true? We don't. Well, I don't want to repeat my history of experimenting of this dev stuff, but this is something, if it's really important, when you're going to sleep and next morning you're waking up, where was you? How do you know you will wake up? If you won't wake up, where did you go? So in the dream, we so fully alive. I don't know, maybe if you have this, especially nightmares where you're so real and you're really into it. And then you wake up like, oh, okay, it was a dream. So maybe at the moment death, you will do the same thing. Oh, this was just a dream. Who knows? But there's something in an experience to us. And really, even it's a dream fully, just really be in it. And when you wake up, it's like, oh, that was a good dream. And then you start living the next moment. But I don't know how you, but even my mind is like somewhere else. My beginning, as I said, when I arrived to Korea, I had really difficult time with the food because I wasn't used to eat anything spicy, and I hardly eat anything salty, and definitely not 3 times a day rice. So this was something, a big challenge for me. So when I was first 3 months sitting, my mind was only about food. Everything in my head was food. I was cooking, thinking, I made all kind of different dishes. If that would be satisfying, I would be really fat by then. But it just was only this food. I wasn't there, but my mind was constantly about this thing. It's actually about something you lacking or like you desperately want and need. Your mind goes where? This doesn't stay here. Well, after sometimes another culture, I was building the temples. I built so many varieties with all these rooms, with halls. Oh, if all these temples would be standing here, that would be nice. But none of them are here. But I spent so much time doing this. And if you're really into it, you get tired. Just remind me, in Hong Kong, we have this mountain like temple where we do the retreats. And this is the place was given to us as a present. But Hong Kong is very humid and pretty hot. This temple was old and wasn't really taken care so well. So everything would go moldy very easily. So before every retreat, it's like renovation. We have to clean everything. I repaint all the walls, and we had this like yoga mat, like puzzle things you put on the floor. So we also would get moldy while you store. So before that, you have to wash all one by one. So all of us, the nuns and the other hangers at that time, from the morning to the night, it was washing, you know, each separate, you dry and you put and we separate, and we keep washing. So next day, this one nun wake up and said, you know, I whole night in my dream I was washing these carpets. I'm so tired. I was just like, you wasted your time. You should rest. Now you whole night, you wash everything and nothing is washed and you still have to wash. So you have no energy now because our mind goes somewhere. We keep thinking about it and you spend this, your life energy in doing that. Well, we still had to wash. Even you dream about you wash it, then you wake up, you still have to wash it. So returning to your question about death, I don't know what happens. I can't help you with that, but I only wish what you will be alive in every moment. No matter whatever you do, just be alive, really alive.
Hi, it's Don.
Yes.
Question. So how have your years of meditation changed your cognitive experience or changed your life?
You see, I'm sitting here and talking to you. If I won't do that meditation, I guess I won't be sitting here and no way I would be able to talk to you. So does that change my experience? Judy asked me to talk about my suffering life. One of the things I could share partly of is I had injury in my back. I didn't have very easy, as you see, the training. So I had injury in my back and I get not, you know, if you understand how when the nerve and the spine is suppressed, if you really suppress, you don't feel anything. But if it doesn't suppress fully, but it's kind of pressing the nerve, it's extremely painful because it irritates the nerve constantly. So that's what I had. I didn't have completely suppressed, cut off the nerve, but I was enough to keep me suffer. It was so painful, but I wasn't able to sit, I wasn't able to stand, I wasn't able to lie down, walk, or do anything. So every movement, every position was extremely painful. So I would be sitting like this, normally talking, and I would move to stand up. I would float into the tears, almost like screaming, and just like, this experience was day by day. And nothing was helping me. Well, we suggested surgery, which was 50-50. So 50-50, I wasn't really liked that idea. So I decided to do anything else before I do this 50-50 issue. So I tried different acupuncture, all the kind of different medicine. But during that time, my mind went into hell as well, because after you have pain for so long, and no matter what you do, your mind gets into this suffering mode as well. So I get to this, what kind of nun I'm going to be? I cannot sit, I cannot meditate, I cannot do chanting, I cannot do nothing. And I don't know if I would recover or not. Who knows? In the end, they put me in the wheelchair, and who knows how it would go. So my mind completely went into whatever you call depression or whatever, down onto the bottom. And then I was just like, my life is over. I was like, okay, I cannot do practice. And something hits in my head, like, do you practice your body or do you practice your mind? Well, yeah, that's true. My body cannot sit, my body cannot stand, my body cannot chant, my body cannot do nothing. But doesn't mean I cannot practice. So that kind of wake me up. Yeah, well, I cannot do the practice everybody does, but I still can keep the no mind. I still can do my mantra. I still can do my practice. I still can breathe until I'm breathing. So in that point, my mind relaxed. And even I was really walking very badly. My movements were so slow and unpredictable. I had appointments to go to the doctor, but my appointments before I go to doctor, I would have like 2 hours. Even it's like 30 minutes distance, it would took me 2 hours. So I would have plenty of time to go with. So I would slowly crawl because everybody busy. I wouldn't be taking their time. So I would slowly walk, stuck, defroze, walk again, stuck, frozen, walk again, and so on. And one day I was walking like this. And all of a sudden I looked around. Again, as I said, you know, with this broken house, actually everything is very beautiful. And I have no burden of time. I look everybody around me was rushing somewhere. Everybody was running, rushing, you know, go to work, go to this, do this. You just see the people, they always rushing somewhere. And I realized, me too. When I have no problem, you're always trying to get somewhere very fast. You're trying to do something. It's like not enough time, you know. Even we don't, our currency is not time, at least not like in this movie, but we always rushing. We don't even able to enjoy the moment we have. And here my time is no control because I never know where I'm going to stop. So nobody put any pressure on me. I don't have to do anything. I just have to crawl to the treatment and crawl back by myself. So I was doing that, but no time limit was something amazing. And you just go around, you stand under red light. It's so nice. Finally, you just look at the sky. It's so beautiful. You just enjoy moment to moment. And it's so sad what we have to get to this point, this crisis, to kind of wake up to these little moments. So now, since I'm kind of recovered, but you know, you never know. So I try to remind myself anytime I get into the rushing mode, slow down, enjoy the moment. It doesn't mean like you kind of like, okay, nothing, it's fine, you don't do anything. No, you do what you have to do, but you can enjoy what you're doing. And it's really, I start really feeling, that's maybe what means being alive. This year is full of roses and it's so nice. And you come to each rose and so beautiful and so every smell. And every day the same rose, but you still come and smell it and still look at it. It's like first time seeing it and it's so nice. So if you get the same cup of tea, but drink it like you drink it first time. Just enjoy what you're doing. You're still doing it. Enjoy your meal, enjoy your drink, enjoy your water, enjoy your reading, enjoy your computer, anything. Even you don't enjoy that. Why not? So if that's kind of change, so maybe that's it.
We can take one more question.
I have a question, Sunim.
Yes, please.
I met you when Jason got Inca. So I set a retreat with him. He told me definitely say hello to you. And you
Oh,
never said a single word in the 48 hours I was at PZC. Every time I turn around, it's just your smiling face. This is the first time I heard you talk about your experience. It's so wonderful. And could you tell us something about your Sangha in Lithuania?
well, same like you, we meet on Zoom, and I was so glad that Judy and Stanley came to our Sangha. And what should I say about it? Same people do the same thing, same problems, same desires, same suffering. They hate Kongans, we love Kongans, we want to practice, they don't want to practice, we like teacher, we don't like teacher, they want to come for retreat, we cancel the retreat. What else? I guess same like everywhere. One thing, you know, it's nice, and I guess you are very lucky because you have the teacher with you. In Lithuania, even before me and when I began, we don't have the teacher. So it means we had the teachers maybe 3-4 times a year. So that's only the time you could get interviews or hear some kind of talk, and the rest of you on your own. So people would get very interesting ideas about practice. You mix everything, you forget everything, you start from beginning. And it's actually really amazing right now when we kind of forced to use this technology, and actually we can meet and hear the Dharma maybe even more than we had in the past. So this is one advantage, and it's really nice to have it. I don't know how we'll go afterwards. Definitely here is difference when we sit together in one room and when we sit in front of a screen, but the practice inside is no different. You know, you still have to do your breathing. Even you are with the group on your own, in front of a screen, in front of a tree, you still will do the same, the practice. So here is no difference in that. But definitely, just recently I had the retreat in the Borisa, in this Catalonia. So they do this Zoom retreat together with, this was first time we had also, we're allowed to have some group of people to be together. So that half people was on the computer, half people was in the place. So it was very interesting sharing from the people who was on the Zoom. And here 2 people who, because the whole day is sitting, and sometimes the computer, we say we didn't charge it or we did something and we disconnected. So until they was able to connect to the group, it would take some time. So sometimes we had to sit all of a sudden not having the screen on. And we said like, you know, I missed these little windows on my screen, because you feel this connection, even through these little small windows. I was just like, well, I never thought, I really hate this Zoom practice, but I never thought I would miss it with people on my screen, you know, because now I am by myself. And yeah, that's, I guess, the advantage we have right now. And if we use it well, it brings us benefits. You know, we actually more close and connected in many ways than we was before. I don't know if you wanted something else, but yeah, so you see, she just told what nobody ever listened to talking to me before, and now I can't stop talking. So you have to stop me.
Thank you very much, Sunim. This
Thank
was
you.
a tremendous, tremendous treat.